After 10 years, he had finally cleared the game. He shouted with joy to his viewers, "I cleared it! I finally cleared the game." No one ever expected anyone to actually beat it. Originally, the game boasted about being almost impossible, but after a decade, it had finally been cleared. And the person who did it was none other than our MC. No matter how difficult a game may be, it exists to be cleared. He was a streamer who only played the most difficult games, and after clearing Empire Defense, he received many donations and praise. He was happy. He was the only player in the world to defeat the game. There was no greater achievement for a gamer like him. But maybe since he and his viewers had grown attached to the characters, they had hoped all of them would survive until the final battle. Yet, apart from Lucas, everyone else had died. Still, the MC's goal wasn't to save them all. It was simply to clear the game. With the defeat of the final boss, the Lake Princess who can't sleep, the game was over. However, as the credits rolled, Lucas, the main character, remained standing in front of the slain boss monster, atop a mountain of both ally and enemy corpses. Even though he was just a character, he seemed lonely. The MC was left feeling bitter. Then, a message popped up on screen. Shouldn't the developer give you a prize or something? But the MC simply replied, "Why would they give me a prize?" The game had been slammed by people for being too hard, but he had proven it was possible to beat. Still, he didn't need a reward. Playing with his fans was enough for him. The chat, however, didn't believe him. They knew he wanted something. He denied it. Besides, the developer had disappeared 10 years ago. There hadn't been an update or a sequel in a decade. There was no way to reach the developer. All that was left to do was find another game to keep his viewers entertained. But suddenly, the director, Mr. A, sent a message to the MC. The chat exploded in a frenzy. Everyone, including the MC, was shocked. Nobody believed it. Mr. A thanked him, saying he had given up hope that anyone would ever beat the game. His next words left the MC confused. "But seeing as you succeeded, I was really relieved. Thank you once again. We still have hope. You've proven your ability and your worth. Please come here and help us." The MC was baffled. There was no way this was real. Was this just some attention seeker pretending to be the developer? There was no way the real developer would be in his stream. Before he could kick the supposed developer from chat, his vision blurred. His body grew heavy. Everything started to fade, everything except the final message from Mr. A. "Thank you for playing Empire Defense." When he woke up, he saw green acid cannons flying through the air. Terror gripped him. This wasn't the room he had been in just a moment ago. The next second, massive rocks came crashing down. He instinctively covered his head in fear, but they all missed him. Then, the sound of a cannon firing. The stench of gunpowder filled the air. A deafening explosion roared nearby, and he jumped back in panic. Before he could calm down, another explosion erupted even closer. "Knock it off already!" he shouted in frustration. Then, he saw it. The Empire's flag. An army of soldiers. They were defending against something outside the walls. And finally he realized this wasn't a prank. This was a real battlefield. A nearby knight caught sight of him and rushed forward, yelling, "Your Imperial Highness!" The MC, thinking he was an enemy soldier coming to kill him, jumped back in fear, screaming like an anime girl. "Don't come close!" The soldier, confused, immediately dropped to his knees and apologized, crying for forgiveness. The MC, completely overwhelmed, tried to calm the old man down, but before he could finish his sentence, a swirling cannon of green acid crashed in front of him. A massive explosion sent him flying. He hit the ground hard, struggling to get back up. "Was that a bomb?" he muttered. As he looked up, he saw the soldier who had just been crying, now engulfed in green flames, screaming in agony. The MC's mind raced, trying to process the situation. But before he could collect his thoughts, "Over here! Over here!" The enemy is charging in. Soldiers rushed to the walls, bracing for an attack. But as they ran, something pierced through them effortlessly. Their bodies fell in pieces before the MC's eyes. He was frozen in fear. More soldiers were being massacred, cut through like paper. He couldn't comprehend it. What was lurking beyond that wall? Then, he saw it. A massive spider with blade-like legs. It climbed over the wall, walking toward him. The creature let out a roar, signaling nearby soldiers to attack it. They charged in and were butchered instantly. The MC's body refused to move. Could this be a dream? A hallucination? Number? It was too real. The monster raised its blade-like leg, ready to strike. It lunged. He was going to die. But before the attack landed, a golden-haired knight suddenly appeared, slicing through the creature effortlessly. "Your Highness," he said, his voice firm. "To deny reality, don't you think that's a bit of a cliché?" The MC was dumbfounded. The knight rushed to him, worried. "Are you injured?" The MC recognized his face. It was a character. "Lucas." The knight sighed in relief. "So, you hurt your head, but I'm really happy you finally called me by my name. Despite me serving as your guard my entire life, you never remembered it." The MC's breath hitched. If this was the real Lucas, then that could only mean one thing. This was inside the game, Empire Defense. He was trapped inside the hardest game in existence, the game he had just beaten. A game of endless slaughter. He muttered to himself in horror. "I'm screwed.